Hey y'all, Josh here today, aka the world's greatest dad, and what you're looking at here is the Chapin Mixes on Exit Sprayer. And today we're going to unbox this bad boy, take a detailed close look at it, fully test it out, see if it might be something you need to pick up as well. So with that being said, let's get it. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning. When you pick this thing up, it's going to show up on your doorstep in a box just like this. Let's get her opened up, see what we're working with. And here's everything that's going to come in this package, including our 15-gallon water reserve tank. Got ourselves a nice long hose, a strainer, of course our lid, with a couple of straps to tie this down to your four-wheeler, electrical connection to connect this to the battery on your four-wheeler, a long nozzle, all the little pieces we're going to need, a mixer reservoir, 2.5 gallon per minute pump, and our instruction book. So I spent a few minutes going over the instruction book. The first thing I want to point out is this does come with a 1-year warranty. And as we open it up, you'll see that our contents list is here, so make sure that you do have everything outlined in this book. From that point, we have 7 steps to get this thing all assembled and put together, and then we'll get into our sprayer components and how to use them. I've also got a nice little guide right here that's going to show us our setting and the amount of ounces per gallon that it'll mix, some troubleshooting information, and some spray and pump frequently asked questions. So let's go ahead and get started with our install. And the first thing we're going to do is attach our pump here to our tank. Now, before you get started, one thing you want to know is this is considered the front of the tank. You'll see here, this little mounting block is on that front side. So make sure you do this correctly. And to do this, we're going to use our pump, obviously. We've got 4 of these screws right here. And then we have this little piece we'll be attaching as well. So the front of our pump will be facing the front of the unit, and we're just going to line up all these holes right here. We will need a Phillips head screwdriver. Now we can simply get this inserted in and lined up, and we'll screw these in. Now for this front left side one, we're going to go ahead and attach this, and we'll put this on the top here. And that is how the pump should look when you are completed. Again, front left side for that little piece there. We're ready to move on to step 2. Now we're going to go ahead and attach our external bypass and our flow director valve to our pump. Our external bypass here will go in on this side of the pump, and then our flow director valve will go on this side of the pump. Now to install this, you have this little quick release valve right here. We've got this little kind of protection plate. We'll remove that. Now we're going to insert this into the pump until it clicks into place, and then we will lock our quick release valve back in. Go ahead and do this on the other side. Again, pulling this quick release valve out, taking out our little cap, snapping this all the way into place, and locking it in. And that is how this should look when it is completed. If you are having any issues with this being like on the inside or something like that, you can use a flathead screwdriver here on this clamp, loosen it, get this adjusted, and then tighten it back up. Now for step 3, we're going to turn this around so we're on the back side now, and we're going to install our wand clips. One of these is already connected here to this. The other one should have been in your little parts bag, and we're going to use these 2 screws for that and a Phillips screwdriver. Now there is one hole here, and you'll want the wand clip to face up. So we'll just insert that and screw this in. Do the same thing on the other side. Now for step 4, we actually are going to loosen this hose off our diverting valve there, and we're going to run it through this clamp that we put on our pump. So we'll run our hose through here and then reconnect it there. So we'll go ahead and loosen our clamp first. And remove that. Remove our clamp. Now we're going to go ahead and run this hose through the back side here. Slide that and give ourselves enough slack. Now we'll go ahead and slide our clamp back over. connect this back in and tighten it up. This is how it should look after you complete that step. Now we're going to go ahead and install our wand to our handle here. Now the first thing I want to point out is there is that nice O-ring right here, so make sure that is installed. And then we're simply just going to slide that in, and then this nut will simply screw on to tighten that down. Now for step 6, we're going to talk about installing our mixing tank. First, we'll go ahead and line these holes up with this and snap that into place. Then we'll take our strap and connect that, tighten it down. Now what's super cool is this is a quick release tank, so we'll simply insert that in, take this cap over, and then we will turn it and lock it into place. Now if you want to remove this, obviously we just turn that out, pull this off, disconnect this, and we've removed our tank. And our last step here is going to be attaching our drain plug cap here to our drain. And this does have a little washer in it, a little rubber gasket, so you want to make sure that's lined up correctly, because if you had any leaks, that's probably going to be where it comes from. Now before we get this thing put on our four-wheeler here, we're going to go ahead and get our power source connected. Now you'll see here on this power cord that it actually has a couple of alligator clamps here, and we've got a nice on-off button, and then this side here is going to connect into our pump. Now everybody's four-wheeler is going to be a little bit different, but for me the easiest access to my battery is underneath the seat here. So we'll go ahead and get this put on before we move the tank up. My negative and my positive. And now let's go ahead and get our tank over here. Now obviously we don't want this thing bouncing around on our four-wheeler, and that's why they provide us with these two different ratchet straps. So we'll go ahead and get this thing strapped down. And one thing that's kind of nice is that the tank has these indentions on both sides, so your strap will kind of sit in there and should stay in place and not move around too much. Now to go ahead and connect our power cord to our pump. Your pump has this little connector, and so we'll just go ahead and match these up. Let's hit our little on switch to give it a little test. We got juice. So before we start actually using this thing with Roundup or other chemicals, I want to run some tests on it to check 3 things. Number 1, I want to make sure that I don't have any leaks anywhere. Number 2, I want to see how accurate it is on its dispensing right here. And number 3, I want to make sure that whatever I have in this little tank here doesn't end up in this one. So how we're going to do that test today is we're actually just going to use some windshield wiper fluid, and this is a nice deep purple. And the reason I picked this is just because it's got this purple color in here. So we can put some of that in this tank. We can run through, I don't know, 4 or 5 gallons, kind of see how much we went through and make sure that we don't have any purple in this tank when we're done. So with that being said, let's get some water in this thing. Now as we fill this up, you will notice that it's got this nice strainer right here. So that way, whatever you're filling this with, it's going to make sure you don't get any goobers down in there that can get in your pump. Now as our tank fills up here, I do want to point out this is a translucent poly tank, so you can see exactly where our water line is right here. And this also has measurements from 15 gallons, 10 gallons, and 5 gallons, and it has liter increments as well. So we're right at 15 gallons, so let's get this shut off. As we tighten down this lid, another thing you will see that's important is with this strainer, this also has this nice rubber gasket around it too. So that's going to give us a good seal so we don't end up leaking out the top, and we can keep good pressure. The cap does screw on nicely. It is a 6-inch opening, and it's got this nice solid handle here, making it real easy. Now as we run our little experiment today, we're going to go ahead and set this to setting 3, which is going to disperse 3 ounces per gallon of water. Now we're a little over 15 gallons here. We're going to run this down to 10 gallons. So basically we're going to go through 5 gallons, 5 times 3 ounces should be 15 ounces of product that we go through. Now our tank itself on this unit particular is going to hold up to 1.33 gallons of solution. And since we're going to go through 15 here today, I'm going to go ahead and double that. So I'm going to put in about 30 ounces of this. We'll go ahead and go through our 5 gallons and then we'll see how much we have left in the tank. Should be about half of what we started with. Now our tank itself also does have a nice lid here with another strainer and a good gasket, so you shouldn't leak anything out of this. And I've already put in about 20, so we're going to put in another 10. And we've got ourselves about 30 ounces of fluid right there. Go ahead and put our cap back on and seal that down. Now, the reason I wanted to put in twice as much fluid on this is because I wanted to make sure that we didn't run out. Obviously, when you take a look in here, that little piece is going to be sucking that up. So if we only had 15 ounces in this, it could easily run out if that thing's a little bit higher. So by doing twice the amount, we should still have plenty in there when we're done. So now it's time to prime the pump and get this thing ready to go. Now, a couple settings you want to do. First and foremost, make sure up here you're set at 0. We'll go ahead and move this later after the pump is primed. And then the next thing you're going to see is we have this little selector either for the boom or the spot sprayer. Now, what this unit comes with is just the spot sprayer, which is going to be our unit right here. They have an additional boom that you can purchase that you could then hook to the back of your four-wheeler, and that would actually plug in right here. Obviously right now that's capped off, so we want to make sure this is on the spot setting. Now the third thing we got to pay attention to is this bypass valve, and you'll see here there's max bypass on this side, restricted flow, optimal, and prime. So we want to make sure that we set this thing to the prime position first. So we'll go ahead and use our switch, turn on our pump. You can hear it operating. Then we're going to use our wand and just hold this down till we get all the air out of the lines and out of the system. And now that we've got all the air out of the system, I'm going to move this to the optimal setting right here. And we're going to adjust this to the 3 setting we wanted to disperse our 3 ounces per gallon. And we're ready to start spraying. Now you can mess with this max bypass valve as you're doing this. You'll notice here as we restrict, you'll kind of get that pump cycling on and off. And as we open it up a little bit, now we're getting a non-stop spray. Go ahead and talk about our handle and our wand a little bit more here. One thing I will point out, nice kind of rubber grip on this. This also has this locking mechanism, so I can hold that down, pull that out, and it locks into one place. Can take that position off there too. As we go down to our nozzle, I can adjust how far I want that to spray or how wide I want it as well. So nice little adjustments. All right, we are right about 10 gallons. So we've went through about 5. Let's go ahead and take a little closer look at our tank, see how much we got left. All right, so we'd input right around 30 ounces into this, and we should have went through around 15. Let's go ahead and pour this back in here. All right, so we are showing 16 ounces left. So we roughly went through 14 to 15 ounces, depending on how accurate I was putting this in the beginning. I'd say that's pretty good. And we'll go ahead and take a little closer look inside our tank. Check this water out too. Don't see any purple residue or really any chemical feeling inside that. I think it's still just the water. So I think this thing performed how it's supposed to. Now, after running 5 gallons of water through this, I just did want to inspect for any leaks. Seemed like everything was running good. No leaks in any of our pipes, as well as the shell or the drain plug. So now that everything checked out using our test with the windshield wiper fluid, I feel confident about using this with other chemicals. So today we're going to be spraying some weeds using some Roundup Pro concentrate. So let's go ahead and get our mixing tank filled up, get started. So we've got the perfect project for our mixes on exit sprayer here today. We're going to be shooting a bunch of weeds in our church parking lot. So again, when starting out, we'll go ahead and make sure we are set on the 0 setting here. Then we'll turn our bypass here down to prime. Now we can go ahead and turn on our pump. Make sure we get all the air out of it. And start moving this up to where our pump runs continuously. Now for a Roundup mix today, I actually want to set this at the number 2, which is going to give me 2 ounces per gallon. So we'll go ahead and get that set up here, and we're ready to spray. Now besides four-wheeling around and shooting this, they also provide you with 15 feet of reinforced PVC hose, so you can be in one spot and still get plenty of spraying done as well. You can also get quite a bit of distance when you dial this thing in for a long spray. Just about 25 feet of coverage. And when you're all done with your project, or you need to transport around without spraying, this little wand clip here holds this thing in nice and secure. Now Chapin does offer 2 different sizes of these mix on demand tanks. They have the 15 gallon, which we're showing you here today, and that's going to come again with the 1.33 gallon mixing tank. Now on top of that, they also have a 25 gallon option that can either go on top of your four-wheeler. They also have a 25 gallon option that comes with a little trailer too. So we just finished up our church spray project. We probably went through anywhere between 3 and 4 gallons. We were at 15 to start. So we should have used about 8 ounces of our fluid set up on our 2 ounces per gallon setting. Now what's so cool about this mix on demand sprayer is the fact that we finished our project, yet we still have a ton of water and of our Roundup. Now regularly, if we just had this mixed in the tank, we would need to store it until we went to our next one. But with this, we can simply take off this tank with our liquid. We can drain this tank with just water and not worry about getting chemicals everywhere. Now, when you do pick this up, they do only provide you with one of these chemical tanks. I do wish they threw in a second one with that, but no worries, you can pick up as many of these tanks as you want. You just have to buy them separately. Now I love the fact we can switch out the tank, but we could still have some of our Roundup here in the line as well as the pump. So I want to make sure that we get that all rinsed out as well. So what I did is I just filled up a cup of regular tap water here, and we're going to run through a bunch of this. Now I will turn this probably up to one of the higher settings, like a 7 there, and that way it'll pull as much of this water out and really get that all mixed in and make sure everything's cleaned out for next time. And after we went through that whole cup of water, we should have this hose as well as that hose pretty well cleaned out. I already mentioned that this does come with a 1-year manufacturer's warranty, but another thing I like about Chapin products is the fact that they're manufactured in the US with global materials, and they also offer USA-based customer support. So there you go. That's pretty much everything you need to know about the Chapin Mix on Demand sprayer. At the end of the day, this thing is perfect for spraying large areas, easy to clean up, and I appreciate the fact that if you do have any issues, Chapin's going to take care of you. For those reasons and more, I'm going to go ahead and give this thing a world's greatest dad thumbs up, and I say, go out and get you one. Hey, one more thing before you go. I want to let you know that the Chapin company behind this Mix on Demand sprayer is a big fan of the World's Greatest Dad's in-depth and informational videos. Therefore, about a month ago, they reached out to me and asked me if they could send me this product for video review purposes. Now, with that being said, all the thoughts and opinions expressed in this video were my own, and I always do my best to accurately describe any product I review. Now, I hope this video helped you out. We'll see you next time.